Hi guys, welcome back to another video, or your first video here, I don't know. Welcome if you're new here, welcome either way. Today I thought I'd do a try-a-chapter tag because in a couple of recent wrap-ups slash unhauls, I've found that a couple of books that I've picked up because they have LGBT themes, and I looked up nothing else about them, when they've been on the sort of younger YA or lower YA section, I found them really hard to get into, or just they're too young for me at this point. Now that publishing is catching up and releasing a lot more LGBT stories, I no longer have to just pick up a book solely on the purpose that it is LGBT in order to find those themes. Nowadays I'm being a bit more discerning when looking at a book that I want to pick up, and I went through my TBR shelves and picked out a bunch of books that fit that category. So these are all books with LGBT themes, but I think that they fall under that lower YA category and therefore probably aren't going to work for me. But I did pick these up for a reason, so I'm going to try a chapter of each of these and see if I want to keep them. First up, we have my most recent buy of these, and that is Game On by Matt Kane. I mean, the reason I'm going to have picked up all of these is the same, but it is a quick read and the writing is enormous, so I will read the first chapter of this and tell you what I think. Okay, so I didn't get very far through into this, pretty much just the end of page 2, and this isn't going to work for me. So first of all, something I didn't realise when I bought this is I have already read a book by this author called The Madonna of Bolton, and I really didn't get on with that one. Also, of course, from the title, the blurb, the cover, this is going to have a lot to do with football, which is just not my thing. I don't think I've ever made it through a whole game of football. I don't get excited when everyone's talking about I don't even know what they're called, like the big matches that like England get into, and there was a lot of football lingo in here that I just don't know what any of it means, and also it's written in third person present tense. Yeah, third person present tense, which I find it's just not my preferred way of reading a book, so this is going to be an unhaul. Shall I go in order of book length? So another one I have is Girls in Love by Jacqueline Wilson. So Jacqueline Wilson wrote a large number of books that a lot of people in my generation read growing up, and I noticed that a number of the books that she's come out with since have been far more diverse in LGBT themes. I have read a book by her, let me see if I can find it. Someone making a funny noise outside. So I have read Love Frankie by Jacqueline Wilson, and I was surprised by how much I loved this and how well it commented on the teenage experience while bringing in a lot of really important themes without just seeming like a mush together of themes for the sake of it. It was a really impressive book, so we shall see about this. Also, I forgot to say what this one was about. This is about a relationship between two boys, one of whom is very involved with football, and I think it has a lot to do with internalized homophobia in a lot of very male-dominated sports, and also relationships when you're younger where you have incredibly different interests. This one, it sounds like it's a young girl's diary. I don't think the back of the book gave much away, so we shall see. not for me either. Very, very young, and I'm sure that this would do so much better in the hands of some young person who is in desperate need for representation. Next up we have The Boy in the Dress by David Walliams. So I'm assuming this is going to be about a young boy who finds out that his interests aren't strictly under things that people consider to be masculine. The back really doesn't give that much away about the plot, so yeah, I will start this and let you know. So this one I've liked the most out of all the ones I have read. I think that I really enjoy David Walliams' narration style. I'm glad I'm more aware now as well that it's not just because of his name that these books have been selling, but because he's clearly a very talented children's author. Sorry if you can hear the seagulls, but as I suspected, this is too young for me, so that is going in the unhaul pile. Now I'm just going to check which one of these is the next shortest. This one's 394, 324, and 373. So we'll be going in this order. So in this one, from what I remember, we have a non-binary main character. They come out and get kicked out of their parents' place because of the bigotry of their parents. They go and live with their older sister, I believe, and then they start at a new school, form a relationship, and are sort of worried about coming out due to what happened with their parents. So let's give this one a go. So again, I think this is a case of, this is well written, it's clearly got some excellent representation, but I don't see it being the book for me, and I think it could do a lot better in the hands of someone else. I think this is really a really important story to be telling. Also, just the opening scene is that coming out moment where Ben is trying to get up the courage to talk to their parents, and the sort of, you see the lead up to that, and it was just so disgusting the way that the parents were acting, even though to an outsider's perspective, even to Ben's internal sort of understanding of the way that they're acting, it could seem so innocuous, but it just felt so insidious to me. So yeah, well, this is leaving, but not for bad reasons. Next we have The Love Interest by Cable Dietrich. So this is a book that is advertised as a true love triangle, where rather than it just being what I like to call a love corner, where you have two guys both interested in the same girl with nothing going on between the guys, and it's just a story of which boy is the girl going to choose. This is a book about two hitmen or spies, I think, where they've both been given the job to kill off this girl, or no, so apparently this is a teenage spy training organization, and the training organization needs this girl, so they send over two guys that fit the stereotypes of the classic love triangle, one sort of bad boy, one nice guy, to see which one of them she is going to go for whatever reason. It sounds like a very odd setup, but what happens is that the two guys start to fall for each other, which is a problem because the spy organization are planning on taking out whichever boy doesn't get the girl. So it sounds very fun and silly, but we shall see if I'm also too young for this now. So this one is the closest to the bar of I could see myself continuing with this, but again, I think I'm going to get rid of it. I think that, for me at least, the regimented setup is just too far in the realms of ridiculousness that it would bother me as I kept reading, because what it sounded like was that they were essentially getting children from orphanages or unwanted children and raising them in this kind of camp style setup to either go into a nice guy or a bad boy stereotype to be sent on these spy missions. So it's just like, it was well enough written and it sounded like a quite silly, goofy time, but just too far in the realm of ridiculousness. So this one's leaving. And lastly, we have Grasshopper Jungle by Andrew Smith. Now, Andrew Smith has written a number of LGBT, I think specifically gay male stories that I can't remember whether or not they're all gay male stories or whether or not he is gay, but a couple of those books have started to come under criticism for some sort of problematic content. I'll be interested to see what this one is like and whether or not I have any problems with it. So apparently this is about two best friends who accidentally unleash an army of 6-foot praying mantises. I think it's supposed to be an apocalypse story, so we shall see. So I ended up reading 2 chapters just because the chapters are so short, but that got me to page 13, and honestly I'm pretty intrigued, so I think I'm going to keep this one and it'll be bumped a little bit higher up my to read list. So yeah, so that to me was quite a success, even if I did end up getting rid of these 5, and I'm keeping this one, but now there is more room on my shelves for books that I'm really excited to read and I think are really going to work for me. So I will turn these around and do a thumbnail. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.